What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Single Guy channel. I'm Lloyd, your single guy, and I'm
Chris Nova.
here with Chris Nova, back again for another awesome video. We're gonna teach you, we're gonna talk about how to deal with rejection, which is a huge topic. We got a lot to speak about this issue. Maybe just a couple quick tips right off the
Yeah.
bat. If we can do that, we're gonna get to some stories too. But I think just a couple quick tips is definitely if you're the thing about rejection is that it separates the men from the boys. Okay, the person who gets rejected puts their hand in their, puts their head in their hands and just goes off crying and doesn't try again is the loser. Everyone who has anything cool happen to them in their life has dealt with adversity, has dealt with rejection, and I guarantee you, a lot of those pimps you see out there, or the players, or you think they're doing well with women, and it's always just been that way for them. I guarantee you, if you go back in their history, they have a lot of things that they're ashamed about or stuff that they're embarrassed about or girls rejecting them in some way. It always happens. So it's how you deal with it, and that's what we're really going to talk about today. So
And what I would like to add to this and say is that rejection is a way for you to actually grow and become better. It's a way for you to actually increase and improve and upgrade your game. Because if you don't get rejected, then you don't have any feedback to work with. So instead of thinking of rejection as something that's this really negative thing that's like, oh, I'm rejected, she's not into me,
yeah, I
it's
suck.
terrible, I suck.
Yeah,
Instead of thinking of rejection like this, which most people do, what most people don't realize is that rejection is actually the one of the greatest forms of insight that you can get into a situation. You won't learn something about how you could improve or do better until you get rejected. So instead of not only realizing that rejection is not only just not neutral, it's better. It's not even just not bad. It's actually good because when you get rejected, you get direct, specific insights about that particular situation that you can apply in the future and that you can work from and you can integrate into your game and into the strategies that you use so that next time you
yeah,
can do even better. And to add even more to that, I'd like to say that I would think of every rejection as really being like a brick in my palace or a brick in your palace. So think of every time you get rejected, that is literally like your game and who you are and your ability to like get girls and get the results that you want in life. Let's call that like your palace. So you got this sick palace around you. And every time you get rejected, you are adding a brick to your palace and you're building it up.
building it up,
You're
building
building
it
it up
up.
because now you've got, okay, this girl rejected you in this situation. Now you've got this new insight. This girl rejected you in this situation, totally different. Okay, instead of being freaked out by it, you're like, okay, I got this new insight. Every single situation, thing that happens to you, all these different situations, you're coming out on top. It doesn't matter if you get rejected, if you get laid that night, whatever it is, you are taking something from that experience, you're integrating it into this larger holistic understanding and you're building upon it.
Yeah,
So when you think about things from this perspective, you start to realize just how empowering rejection can actually be and how much it can help to accelerate the results that you get and you want in
yeah,
life.
exactly, exactly. I think some of to put to what Chris was saying, some of the worst guys that I go out with are the guys that automatically just had it all in high school, or they were like,
Oh
the
yeah.
quarterback of the football team or
Oh, some
some
of the worst.
shit,
Yeah.
dude. Like they had it so good in that at that age that they don't know when like a girl doesn't like him or they don't understand it. They're just like you can't teach them, and
And not only you can't teach them, they can't teach you because they because
exactly,
they haven't figured out how to consciously even understand the process. They're just
exactly.
they just know something that works for them. They don't really understand it. They've been able to work. It's like they're the quarterback, so they get girls, but that's bad for a few reasons. Because one is they can't teach it to other people, and the second reason is they don't even understand what's working for themselves a lot of the
Right,
time.
right,
And
right.
so if they lose some factor, like for example, if they're no longer the quarterback of the football team,
What are they gonna do?
what are they going to do? There goes their game. Versus somebody who understands the mechanics of how this stuff works, of how game works, of how attraction works, then you will always have the upper hand. Your circumstances can change. You're the quarterback. You're not the quarterback. You have this job. You have this other job. Whatever your life experience and circumstances are, you will always be able to come out on top because you will always be able to come from the cores of what actually creates attraction in the
Yeah.
first place.
And look, like we're not telling you to go out there and like only get rejected and never get success. I mean, that's obviously ridiculous. But if you're going out there and you're not getting rejected, you're not pushing yourself. You're not going after girls that are good enough for you. You're going for the easy things, and you're being exactly like that, football jock in high school who is just getting all the girls because he's the quarterback, and he's not learning about people. He's not learning how to develop himself, personality wise, and in life and in general.
Yeah,
you don't want to be that guy. So like
you want to get
if you find yourself going out, or you find yourself in social situations where dude, I've had guys like we have conversations where I'll have experiences where this girl did this to me, and the guy's like, dude, I've never had a girl like reject me like that or something like that. And I know our lifestyles are completely different. They might have had like one girlfriend or had sex with less than 5 people or something like that. Well, it's like, well, no shit, you didn't get any rejections. It's like you haven't had any successes.
Right.
You had like the girl has to like be literally like knocking on his front door, pulling your panties down for then to have sex with him. And so it's like, well, no shit that this person has no negative experience. Because they just haven't pushed themselves. They're not successful because of it.
This is a really great point that Lloyd is making, which is, a guy might like to say, oh, well, I never get rejected. You'll hear this from certain people, like I've got a 100% success ratio. I always succeed. Well, it's like, well, dude, how much are you really pushing yourself? Well, how much? So when's the last time you hooked up? Well, it was whenever, really long time ago when this girl initiated it. Well, it's like, okay, so you haven't been rejected, but you also haven't had anything happen, and that's because you're giving nothing. Or let's not even just say giving. You're putting nothing out into the world. You're getting nothing back. You're not putting anything out. You're not getting anything back. So what you want to do is you want to realize that, of course, you don't want to only get rejected. We're not just saying just get rejected. But what we're saying is go out there and do shit. Make something happen. Try something and get feedback from it. Sometimes it will work. Sometimes it won't work. But when it won't work, when it doesn't work, that's the rejection that you take the insight, the feedback from, and you can build it into your palace. And when it does work, well, fuck, there you go. It works.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. You want to be going for it as often as you can. And as Lloyd just said, if you don't get rejected, if you're never getting rejected, that basically means you are not actually trying enough. You're not putting yourself out there enough. So just make sure to always put yourself out there. Try, get feedback, get any kind of feedback, and it's from that feedback that you're able to grow and change and become who you want to be.
Yeah, and those are all really good points. But let's come from the other side. Let's say like this guy he's getting rejected too much, and it's kind of bringing him down. What are some techniques that are good in that scenario? I'll give you one that I like to use. So we're talking about rejection. We're talking about someone not liking you or whatever. In my opinion, I almost never use the word rejection. I almost don't even believe it exists because, in my opinion, it's never over. She just didn't. She was, I don't know. She was talking to her friends, or she has a boyfriend. That's not a rejection to me. That's her current situation.
Exactly.
And who knows? Maybe in a year, like she'll be ready for me, or I'll, maybe I was not on my game that day or whatever. I was in a bad mood. That's not a rejection to me. That's a rejection of bad mood, Lloyd.
Exactly.
Or whatever.
And what Lloyd just
the case
said
is.
You might think, reframe it, because you might think a girl's rejecting you because she doesn't like you and it's personal. And of course, it makes sense that you would think it's personal. It seems like it's personal. But the truth is, there are so many different reasons why women can reject you that sometimes have absolutely nothing.
Most of the time,
it has nothing. Most of the time, guys, it has absolutely nothing to do with you. Just zero. Like, you have no idea, bro. She could be a lesbian. She could be on her period. She could have just had literally, her grandma die that day. She could have had many things could be the reason why she is not into you. And we're out here, there's fucking mosquitoes everywhere. So there's so many reasons why she could not be down in that moment. And what do most guys do though? Most guys take it personally. They think that it's a rejection of them. Oh, she wasn't into me, so it must be that I am not good enough on some way. Well, that's not the right way to think about it. And also, it's just not accurate. It's easy to want to think that could be the reason, but the truth is that there could be so many other reasons why she's not down in that moment. So just remember, even the rejection itself is not necessarily personal. not only can you grow from it, but you can realize that half the time, 75% of the time, she just wasn't down because of whatever X factor, and it has nothing to do with you. This is just another really helpful psychological tip and strategy for you to be able to be more empowered in more and more of your situations.
Yeah.
So just bear that in mind. Rejection is almost never personal. There's always something to gain from it. And if you're not getting rejected enough, if you're not having success enough, it's because you're not putting yourself out there enough.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that, look, if someone is going out there a lot and they're just getting a lot of negative responses and they're trying to improve, they're learning from them and, being a calm person, I would say to that person, maybe put yourself in a position where you can get a few wins to build a little bit of confidence, and then work your way up and start going for things that are, higher hanging fruit, or so to speak.
Those fruits that you actually have to, put up a ladder and actually grab
to get exactly.
They're not just swinging there in the bushes, just with like 15 other little like fox creatures that can grab them.
Honestly, sometimes, so like, let's say you're going out and every girl is just, giving you attitude or whatever, and you're getting kind of down. Sometimes I'll talk to a girl that I'm, not really interested in, but I know is going to be friendly to me. Have a good conversation with them, maybe build up a little bit of social confidence in that moment, and then go talk to someone that I do want to talk to, or I'm not attracted to.
That can be huge.
Evil Stifler uses this move a lot. He'll talk to anyone, actually, but if like girls are being real mean to him, he'll just go talk to them.
Evil Stifler, by the way, is just for context. There's other guys in the community, Real Social Dynamics, who we've got mad respect for, and we're actually friends with some of the guys. And Evil Stifler is friends with Jeffy and other people in Real Social Dynamics.
Yeah, they talk about it in the blog.
So we're giving like a kind of parallel perspective to RSD, because we know some of those guys and kind of what they're into and how they work.
That's some techniques.
And it works.
And you talk with your friends as well, if they're female or male, just to get yourself to realize that, okay, I'm not a total fucking loser. Like, I have people in my life that care about me, and then go off and talk to some other people who might not give you that same love, but will also maybe sleep with you.
Yeah, you can when you're going out there, and it takes courage. We know, guys, that it takes courage to go out there and put yourself out there, and if you're getting rejected, it can feel painful, even when you know all these things. When that happens, and in addition to realizing it's not personal and that there's a bunch of things that you can learn from the situation, you also, after it starts becoming like really heavy though, and you're just like, fuck, this is really just not seeming to go my way.
Right.
You want
having one of those nights.
Yeah, we all have those nights, and what you want to do is you want to come back to your center, and you want to then do things that will help build up your sense of social value and your sense of just feeling good. That's always fine to kind of pull back, take a minute, reconnect with people who care about you, who you can have good responses with. Think of the things that make you feel good. Maybe go work out, maybe do something else, maybe go do some other kind of activity, or at least if you are still going out that night, make sure to be socialized. Go talk to your friends, maybe make a phone call to somebody that is going to have elicit a good response. Do something to get yourself kind of to pull back from the situation, get yourself feeling better, and then be able to re-engage. It's kind of like you're driving, your car, and you've got like a Ferrari, and it doesn't matter how great the car is. At certain times, you're going to run out of fuel, and you want to just kind of take the time to back off, refuel, and then come back at it from a stronger point.
Do you got any stories or anything? I mean, you told me one yesterday that was pretty good. I don't know if you want to tell that one or another one that.
Well, do you want to do it in the same video, or should we tell a story for another video?
Yeah, let's do it in the same video. I don't have a problem with it because it's still on the same topic, and I think that
okay.
We could tell a few examples of these.
Sure. I had what I will put as a disclaimer was one of the most seemingly negative experiences that you could possibly
it was pretty bad.
Possibly have happened. But guys, let me tell you, this experience completely changed my whole game. It changed everything in a really positive way. I probably hooked up with the largest amount of high quality women, and just women in general, after this particular moment in time took place. And let me share with you what this was. This was when I was 16 years old, actually. 16 years old. There's this girl that was friends with some friends at school. This attractive blonde girl who had expressed a lot of interest in me, and she was actually going to sleep over at my house. And
Right.
she had a reputation for being basically like, really sexual.
She
Like,
was down.
She was down to fuck, and to say the least, just to say the least. And so, my parents were going out of town for the weekend, and I made the house really nice and clean, and I got everything ready. And she was telling me she's going to sleep over. We're going to have a slumber party. It was going to be so great. And she comes over. I'm super stoked. She sits on the couch. I'm sitting on the couch next to her, watching like the movie Troy, with, like Brad Pitt, fucking Troy, right? And
It's an
I'm like,
art.
this will turn her on. This will be great. And I had everything set up, and I put my arm around her, and she kind of like backs off a little bit, and I'm like, that's kind of weird. So I put my arm around her again, and she kind of backs off. I'm like, okay. She's like, and then she says to me, she's like, whoa, do you think that you're having sex with me tonight? Is that what you think's happening? There is no way that I'm having sex with you. There is no way. And she gets up, guys. She gets up and she proceeds to sit in a chair in the corner of the room. She plugs in her phone. She's sitting across the room from me, and she's literally now looking at me, and like she's looking at me in this like pathetic, like this judgmental way. Like she's just like judging me as like this like pathetic creature, and then
Being hella
she's
insecure.
being hell insecure, and then she looks at her phone, and she's just like she starts laughing. So she'll look at me, and she'll look at her phone, and she'll be like, and she's just texted. She's just like, ew, like texting, and and then she goes on and on about how she starts saying how she wants to have like a real man come and fuck her, and
Yeah, she said that verbatim.
She said verbatim she wants a real man to come. She wishes she had a real man that could come and just fucking manhandle her right there. And maybe now I would do something different than what I did before, because she's kind of insinuating that she is down, but she just wants somebody to take initiative and really make something happen. But because she was so dismissive, and not only dismissive, like straight up, like I would say this is beyond rejection. So to be like, there's no way, like, what did you think was going to happen? You think I'm going to have sex with you? There's no way I'm having sex with you. To do that was the way she did it was like the most cutthroat, kind of like humiliating way. And
I mean, to say something like that is pretty.
Yeah, to say she wants to get fucked, but that there's no way she's having sex with me. So then what I did was, at first I was just like so flabbergasted this was happening. I couldn't even believe that somebody would do this. It seemed so bizarre that someone would actually go to this extent to be disrespectful.
Yeah.
So guys, what I did was, at a certain point I was just like, I was taking it, and then something happened where she just keeps talking shit, and she's texting, like literally like smirking, like I'm this like pathetic creature, and she's just like just so disrespectful in my house, guys. And at a certain point I was just like, you know what, enough is enough. I'm like, you need to. I was like, you need to get the fuck out of my house. She's like, what did you just like? You need to get out of my house right now. She's like, I don't have to do anything. I was like, listen, this is my house. You are doing nothing but disrespect me and show me disrespect. That's all you're gonna do. She's like, I can do whatever I want. I was like, actually no, this is my house, and I'm gonna say this one more time. You need to get the fuck out of my house right fucking now. And she's like, and I was like, right now, get up. And I get her up, and she's like, what the fuck? You can't make me. I was like, get the fuck out of my fucking house right now. And so I walk her to the door, and she's literally screaming how she wants to have a real man fuck her. She's like, you're so weak and pathetic. Like, I want a real man to fuck me. Like, you'll see, I'll go fuck one tonight. Literally, guys, like, what a fucking bitch, fucking slut, whore, bitch. Okay? So she's saying this, and she leaves, and she's still walking down the street, guys, screaming about how much she wants a real man to fuck her. And I was just like, wow. And so what ended up happening, guys, was I ended up finding out.
Before you get into that, like, what was your feelings like after?
Oh, God.
Really after this.
So
happened?
after this happened, to say I didn't feel great was like the understatement of the century. I felt like, just, how would you feel? I felt downright humiliated that this happened, and just like, I just literally just flabbergasted. Like, I could not believe that. I just couldn't believe that this happened. Like, I'd had some successful experiences with girls. I'd already had sex with numerous different girls, but not nearly as was about to happen after this experience. But the point being that I just couldn't believe that this had happened, especially considering it seemed like she was so down. She's literally like texting me how she's going to have a sleepover at my house, and she's so down to fuck and all this stuff. And I'd coordinated all this stuff, and for her to come over and just be like, there's no way I'm having sex with you, and literally to be laughing in my face.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the worst things that can happen. Have a girl laughing.
Have you ever had something that humiliating happen? I hadn't.
I mean, I definitely have had stuff
But
as bad as that too. But
okay, but
I just think it's a great story. That
it's I'm sure you I'd love to hear what that is in a minute. Maybe not in this video, but it's just regardless
yeah,
of what experiences you've had, we'll wrap it up after this video, this story. This was pretty bad, guys. This was pretty fucking humiliating. So the point is, I felt pretty terrible about this, but what happened, guys, was I realized after this that I was never, ever, ever going to allow any girl to disrespect me ever again. I was never going to tolerate it. I put my foot down and I made a conscious decision that nothing was ever going to be the same from this moment on. I was going to completely change the way that I perceive these situations and just the amount of self-respect and confidence that I had. I was not going to be walked on like a rug that was just there for you to be stepped on. And so I really clicked this into my mind, and I had found out later, guys, that she had talked to these other girls in my high school, and small school in terms
they were talking
and
shit
they were
about
talking shit. They had a sleepover the night before at one of these girls' houses, and they were just talking shit all night. That's all they were doing. And they basically told her, "We know you want to hook up with him, but just like they told her to basically set it up so that they weren't gonna just to fuck with me."
Yeah.
I mean, this is high school, right? High school, guys. It's so fucking ridiculous. So I found out that was like the reason. But the point is that what I took from this internally and the way I processed it and the way that I built upon this was my own decision and my own making, and would make it so that my life would never be the same from there again. Because any single time with any girl that I ever had, any single situation, I knew I always would fall back on that experience, and I would say, I will never, ever, ever let anything like that happen again. I will never let any girl disrespect me like that ever again. And I was able to not only do that, not only have girls never disrespect me, but I was able to lay down this like level of like solidness and like just badassness that made it so that I took it from I was hooking up with some girls and I had some girls into me to like literally just on the overdrive, and it made me actually become. It didn't make me. I took it as a catalyst to become the most badass that I had ever been, and I was able to hook up with you know hundreds of girls after
You
this.
said it was 150.
It's probably like 100.
Well, in the near future.
I lost count at a certain point of how many girls I've even hooked up with, but it was like 150 or so. The point is that this was the very beginning of my experiences with hooking up with girls. It was towards the beginning, and I took this experience and I just fucking ran with it.
You turned the rejection into motivation.
Thank you. I took what seemed like a negative, guys. It seemed like a negative, like rejection, and I turned it into the most positive thing.
Yeah.
And so that's what I want you guys to get from the story. No matter what happens to you, as negative or fucked up as it seems, there is a nugget of total golden fucking positivity and just opportunity that you fucking have in that experience. And it's for you to transmute and to make that negative into a positive. And if I can do that with that experience, guys, and then kind of pull myself into becoming so much better with game because I've been so determined to, think about what you guys can do for yourselves in your own life and how you can take this and you can take the negative experiences that happen to you, how you can build on them and become just so fucking badass. So hopefully you guys got a lot of value from this video. There's definitely a lot of nuggets of gold to be taken from it, and we'd love to hear what your comments are. And
I will. Right before we sign off, I just kind of want to close with, obviously there's the story that Chris told is definitely a pretty emotional story. And for those guys out there that are experiencing rejection, don't try and get angry towards women in general or stuff like that. Don't let this anger like bog you down, because sometimes this anger can kind of like affect you in the future. The way to handle it is exactly the way Chris did, which is put it into a motivation, do something good with it, and remember, no good story ever happened without a lot of struggle. So the more struggle you have, the better the story it is.
Exactly. And you can take it from getting rejected and laughed at and humiliated to literally having threesomes with models and strippers and porn stars and dating some of the hottest women that you've ever seen. I know, because I made this happen. You can do the exact same thing. So no matter how negative something seems, you can always find a way to transmute it and to make it more positive and to enhance your life. So we hope, guys, that you got a lot of value from this video, and we'd love to hear your feedback in the comments section below. And stay tuned, and we will see you in the next video. Cheers, guys.
Good luck out
Peace.
there.